everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry I've been gone a while. I've been really busy with graduate school and finals, and also with the holidays. But I'm happy to say I'm finally done with all of my finals for school, so I have some time off, and I really hope to get back to making videos for you. I miss being on here a lot, and I'm looking forward to making new content to share with you. Today I want to talk about something that I feel like is not talked about enough, and that a lot of women aren't aware of their options. And that is non-hormonal birth control. I feel like today, at least in the US, I don't know if it's this way all around, different countries or not, but in the US, I feel like when you go to the doctor to talk about wanting birth control, you're typically only offered hormonal options. And I don't think that's right, because hormonal options are only some of the options we have as women. And if we're more health conscious or worried about putting things in our body, hormonal options may not appeal to us. But we're often led to believe that those are the only options, and that's simply not true. So today I want to talk about an option that has not been talked about very much, at least for modern women, but was really popular for older generations, and our mothers and grandmothers use this a lot, and now we're not even really told about it. And that is the diaphragm. Here is the diaphragm. The diaphragm I'm going to be talking about in this review today in particular is called the Caya diaphragm. There's two diaphragms on the US market, the Caya diaphragm, which has some interesting unique features, and the Thinx wide seal diaphragm. I personally have experience with both of these diaphragms. I've got to use both of them. And so I kind of want to share with you the pros and cons of each of them and kind of what my experiences have been. I also may make a video in the future comparing the two options. So if that's something you're interested in, you want to see a comparison of the Thinx diaphragm and the Caya diaphragm, let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so today I'm going to start my review of the Caya diaphragm. Here is my Caya diaphragm. The Caya diaphragm is made of silicone, and it's a one-size-fits-most women, which is a unique feature to this particular diaphragm that isn't to the Thinx diaphragm. I believe if your measurement is between 65 millimeters and 80 millimeters, they say that the Caya diaphragm will fit you. So that's a really important thing, because it makes it easier if you don't know what size you are to know that you might be covered with this diaphragm. You can see it has different features. It has this large dome part, which this is actually what covers your cervix. It has a spring. The ring around it has a spring in it that allows you to put it in, and it opens up, and that's how it protects you, because it covers your cervix. So that's how it offers you protection from pregnancy. It stops the sperm from getting to your cervix, and that's where they need to get for you to get pregnant. So it's like it's called a barrier method, and it's an actual barrier in the way, preventing sperm from uniting with the egg. A couple interesting features of the Caya is it has these little, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it has these little dimples. And the reason they put these dimples, they said, is so that you know where to squeeze the diaphragm to insert it. It also has this piece up here, and this is called the removal dome, which makes it easy to remove. So if you're going to use this diaphragm, it's really, really simple to use. One thing I forgot to mention before is when using a diaphragm, you must use something called spermicide with it. I don't have a tube right here with me, but every time you use the diaphragm, I am sure you use spermicide, as it's very important to increase the efficiency of this. So what you would do, spermicide typically comes in a tube. It also comes sometimes in a pre-filled applicator that's very much like an applicator that you would use like to apply monostat or something. But what you would do is you take the diaphragm, you squish it down, this Caya, you squish it like this, you put your hands on it and squish it together. And the way the Caya instructs you to put spermicide on is you put it on this side and this side, and then you take a little bit and rub around the rim. After you've done that, you keep it like this and say, this is, and then pretend that this is the vagina. You take this, insert it. Once it gets up all the way in, you take the tip here and push it up behind your pubic bone. And as you'll see, this part here opens and that covers your cervix. For extra protection, something I always do is I reach in to make sure I feel my cervix through the silicone to make sure it's covered. And if you don't know, your cervix typically feels kind of like the tip of your nose. It's kind of like a similar feel. So if you know you found that spot, you know that if your cervix is covered, you're protected. Now to remove this diaphragm, you just reach up, you find this little removal though, you just pull and it comes out. It's super, super simple. And then after you take this out, you just wash it with soap and water, and here is the case it comes in, and you just pop it in its case and it's stored. So it's super convenient. One thing I forgot to mention is after you take this out, they recommend you take it and hold it up to the light to make sure there is no holes or it's not compromised in any way. Also, another way to do it is when I'm washing it, I fill it up with water, hold it, and then make sure there's no water dripping through. Okay, so now I've shared my this form of birth control. One couple things I want to add that I'm sure you're interested in knowing is how effective is the diaphragm. When used perfectly, which means used each time with spermicide, the diaphragm is about 94% effective. Another interesting point of the diaphragm is after you have intercourse, it's important that you leave this in place for a minimum of 6 hours, but not more than 24 hours. Leaving it in place after intercourse for 6 hours makes sure that all the sperm has died off so that you can't get pregnant. It's like I said, it's about 94% effective, which I think overall is pretty good for a barrier method, but there are ways you can make it more effective if you want to reach the efficiency of hormonal contraception. The way you could try, or things you could do to make it more effective, would be combining the diaphragm with something like FAM, or the fertility awareness method. This is something I do personally. I track my fertility so that I track it. I've talked about previously on this channel using the Daisy Fertility Monitor, and I really like using it, and I still use it. And the way you would combine this with FAM is that you would track your fertility, and then during your fertile time, you abstain from sex. And then during your non-fertile time, instead of just having unprotected sex, I use the Caya. On those times when I'm on my non-fertile times, I use the Caya just to make sure that in case I accidentally made any mistakes in my charting, I'm still protected. That's how I personally use this form of birth control. Some other interesting features is if you wanted to not track your fertility, but you want really high effectiveness, you could combine using the diaphragm with a condom each time you have intercourse. So if you have a diaphragm and you're using a condom, you're like over 99% protected. So I think that's really good. And for some women, if accidentally, if you're not super worried about accidental pregnancy, using the diaphragm by itself with its 94% effectiveness may likely be high enough for you, and you might be comfortable with that. So it's really your choice, it's your option, and that's how I feel like it should be with all birth control. It should be the woman's option and what fits her life best. And that's kind of why I wanted to share this, is because doctors, when you say you want birth control, they just don't share this option with you that so many of our mothers and grandmothers used effectively for many years, and I feel like now it's just not really shared much, or doctors don't tell their patients about it as an option. And I wanted to come on here and share it and show that it's a very effective option, and it's something that I think is a great option. Soon I'm going to be doing a review of the Nonhormonal diaphragm so that you can kind of see how that compares to the Caya, and I'll let you know which one I prefer. But that's really all I wanted to share for today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me grow on this platform. And I will talk to you all soon. Thanks for watching today. Bye.